Right now, the biggest advice that anybody could give you, 85 to 90% of life is just showing up. Show up. If you show up, there's a chance something could happen.
If you have one good day where you eat clean, you drink a lot of water, and you, like you did, you got that day, you woke up, you put your shoes on, you went for a run, you worked out your driveway, you got a good day in.
Yep.
That's sometimes all you need to do and decide, this is what I do from now on. I have good days.
Yeah.
Tomorrow's going to be another good day, and then I'm going to force myself into another good day. And the next thing you know, I've got some momentum.
Some of you don't even realize you have unfinished business. You need to go back where you left off with a new perspective. Go back to the gym. Go back to the drawing board. Go back to the business. Go back to the relationship. Go back to the burning building. You have unfinished business. All you got to do is show up with a new game plan and a new perspective. You got to finish business.
I think the more, at least for me, the more I've tried to create space between how I feel and what I do, the more consistent my outcomes have been. I'm not feeling it, or I'm feeling tired, or things like that. The more times I give into that excuse or that feeling, then the more superstitious I become about doing it in the future. Whereas a lot of times if I can just start when I am tired or when something is painful and then still execute about the same as before, the more times you do what is required to get what you want, the more times you get what you want.
I say pay the price today so you can pay any price tomorrow. And the winners all say this, man. Discipline, man, over motivation. Discipline, man. Show up when your eyes are bleeding. Show up when you don't want to show up. Show up when it hurts. Show up when you're winning. Show up again. You know, show up when you're 50 points ahead and put another 7 points on the board.
Just keep laying it on them.
Keep crushing so that you know, okay, I can crush everything. And there's no slowing me. There's no stopping me. You like, it's not for the public, right? It's not to be mean.
Self-love is holding yourself to a higher standard than anyone else does.
I think it's believing in the 85-year-old version of you, who's exactly who you want to be, and then ruthlessly looking at the discrepancy between the pittance of a human that you are now compared to that man or that woman, and then step by step breaking down the many differences and starting on the first one and pulling the thread.
Keep showing up. I'm tired. Keep showing up. I don't feel like it. Keep showing up. I can't see any results. Keep showing up. I don't know where to start. Just start. Do something. Take that first step. Every step you take adds up. And sooner or later, you'll look back and see that you're at the top of the staircase. It doesn't matter if you can't see the top from where you are. Just know that if you keep climbing, if you keep learning how you can get to the next level, you will soon be exactly where you need to be. If you quit, if you never start climbing, if you never take that first step, you'll never get there and you'll forever live in regret.
But we must keep moving. We must keep going. If you can't fly, run. If you can't run, walk. If you can't walk, crawl. But by all means, keep moving.
Everybody just wants to be comfortable. Everybody wants to sit in the car. I don't want to go outside. It's cold. I don't want to do this. It's hot. Like, you've got to do things that you don't want to do because you show your body that your mind is the boss. Your mind is telling your body what to do, and then you have control.
What would have had to have happened in a week for you to look back on that week with pride? Okay, maybe stop breaking promises to yourself. When you say, I'm going to wake up tomorrow at 7 a.m., and when the option comes to hit the snooze button, don't do it. There's one win that you've got for the day. That's action.
So a strong mind is not just one that can do calculus. A strong mind is not just one that can write books. A strong mind is one that controls the body and all of its inherent weaknesses and all of its urges to be lazy and sedentary and self-destructive. That's a strong mind.
Every morning when you get up, say over and over to yourself,
Do it now. Do it now. Do it now. I do it now. Do it now. Whenever you have this tendency to procrastinate, program your subconscious mind with this automatic conditioned command. Do it now. Do it now. Do it now.
Everything great and worthwhile in human life is an accumulation of hundreds and sometimes thousands of tiny efforts and sacrifices that nobody ever sees or appreciates. This law says that everything accumulates over time, that you may have to put in many, many tiny efforts that nobody sees or appreciates before you achieve anything worthwhile.
Discipline, through self-discipline, through repetition, through tons of repetition of the same thing that you don't want to do. And that's the key thing. Through repetition of things you don't want to do, you develop like an armor for your mind. You start to armor your mind because your mind's like, okay, we suffer every day. It's what we do. We do stuff that sucks every day. So then when the suck stuff comes, you're ready for it. Motivation, you have to learn to exist without it. You have to learn to be your best self when you're least motivated. And that's the tricky part about all that. Motivation is just a word. You have to have these different things in your mind on where you want to go and know that motivation is not going to get me there. Because I'm not going to always be motivated.
We don't rise to the standards we have when others are watching. We fall to the standards we have when no one is watching. The only work that really matters is the work that no one sees. It shows you who you really are rather than who you say you are.
It's a lot easier to sit around and make a list of what you're going to do in the future. What's easier? It's easier to take out a pen and a piece of paper and write things down. And so people will substitute that action for the action that will actually change them and make them better and move them closer to that version of who they know they can become. So let's just be careful. Just be careful. Be careful of getting caught in that planning phase of who you can become. Be careful of that planning phase, because the planning phase should be about 3 seconds long. And then it's time to go get after it.
Confucius had a great saying that, every man has 2 lives. And the second starts when he realizes he has just one.
You ever had a gut feeling that maybe you were meant for more, but you weren't really sure what the next best steps were to achieve it? Me too. So what's your more? What's your destination? And I'm not talking about just more money or more things. I'm also talking about more love, more joy, more choice, more balance, more trust. What's your more?
You ever feel like nothing good was ever going to happen to you? I don't want to just survive. It says in these movie writing books that every character has an arc. You understand? Like everybody starts out somewheres and they do something, something gets done to them, changes their life. That's called their arc. Where's my arc?
Isn't it about time you become that person you knew you always could be? How do you do that? You break the mold, guys. You get the out of bed when it's cold, when it's early. You do something away from the normality of what you've been doing. That psychotic behavior, doing the same thing, expecting a different result, doesn't work that way. You must switch up the mainframe. Switch it up if you want a different result, man.
I know that until you make a decision that you no longer want to feel how you feel, or you no longer want to think the way that you think, or you no longer want to have the kind of results or no results that you have, until you make that decision that, you know what? I know I don't feel great. I know I doubt myself. I know I've had a lot of bad things happen. I know there's a lot that I regret, but damn it, with the time that I have left in my life, I really want to start to enjoy myself. I want to take better care of myself. I want to feel happy. You don't even have to believe you deserve it yet. You can just want it. You've got to start there. You've got to start with wanting something better for yourself. And then I personally think the most important thing is to start acting like the person who has the things that you want right now, even though you don't feel like it.
It doesn't matter where you are in life. It really doesn't. Because the great thing about life is it's always your next move. Your next move that counts. No matter where you are. You could be, look, I was dead broke. My electric bill was being shut off. And there were people even like worse off than I was. It doesn't matter. You could change your life if you want to. It's always your next decision. So it's up to you.
A lot of people wait for perfect conditions to start, but don't realize that starting is the perfect condition.
You don't have forever, right? So what is important to you? Because you only have 24 hours in a day. So what's important to you? Find out what that is and do more of that. And try to figure out like how to make enough money so that you're not starving, that you're doing well. Yeah. But don't just chase that. Chase what you're trying to do.
Don't waste your time. Do you know that everybody alive gets exactly the same amount of time? It's what we do with it that makes the difference. Don't waste your life.
The quote goes like this: one day or day one. One day or day one.
If somebody ever told you you only live once, they a damn lie. You only die once. You live every day. Get up and get it.
I was honest. Look at yourself, man. Look at yourself. And it was that day I just got real with myself. And every day I came home, I called the accountability mirror. What am I going to do today to change what I see in this mirror?
It's like, how far could you take that? If you stopped wasting time and if you stopped lying and if you oriented yourself to the highest possible good that you could conceive of and you committed to that, how much good could you do? Well, I would say, why don't you find out? You can have what you want in 5 years, but there's two conditions. You have to know what it is and you have to aim at it. Figure out what you want, write it down, figure out what you could do to start moving towards that, okay? Do that with your family relationships. Do that with your friendships. Do that with your career. Do that with your education. Think about your misuse of alcohol and drugs and other things that might drag you down. If you want to drink, it's like, okay, what do you mean by that exactly? How often? How much is too much? How are you going to constrain that and why? Develop a vision. And you have to do that in dialogue with yourself, right? It's like, if I could have what I wanted, what would satisfy me? And you might think, well, I could never get that. And I could say, well, maybe not, but I'll tell you one thing, man. You can move towards it. And I know that everyone who knows the underlying neuroscience knows this. Almost all the pleasure is in the moving toward. But if you set up a goal that you think is, just on the edge of conceivability, then every time you move even a tiny bit towards that, you're going to think, good work, man, good work. You get a little kick from that. Yeah. You get a little stronger from that.
You got to start believing in your imagination. You want a better life, correct? Haven't you imagined a better life? Okay, who you think he showed it to? He showed it to you. Why you think he showed it to you? Because he want to give it to you. But if you don't work, if you don't ask him for it, he cannot give it to you because he created us with the power of choice. We make choices every day. If you decide that you will be poor, there's nothing I can do. You're going to be poor. If you decide to be rich today, who going to stop you? Who? If you decide you want to be rich, all you got to do is start. Why not? Who gonna stop you?
So people always ask me, when they saw me in the gym in the pumping iron days, they say, why is it that you're working out so hard? 5 hours a day, 6 hours a day, and you have always a smile on your face. The others are working out just as hard as you do, and they look sour in the face. Why is that? And I told people all the time, I said, because to me, I'm shooting for a goal. In front of me is the Mr. Universe title. So every rep that I do gets me closer to accomplishing that goal, to make this goal, this vision turn into reality. Every single set that I do, every repetition, every weight that I lift will get me a step closer to turn this goal into reality. So I couldn't wait to do another 500-pound squat. I couldn't wait to do another 500-pound bench press. I couldn't wait to do another 2,000 reps of sit-ups. I couldn't wait for the next exercise, for the next half hour of posing and all the kind of things that you have to do to be a champion.
But the fact of the matter is if you want to be good, you really don't have a lot of choices because it takes what it takes. You have to do what you have to do to be successful. So you have to make the choices and decisions to have the discipline and the focus to the process of what you need to do to accomplish your goals.
The bottom line is, no one's coming. No one. No one's coming to push you. No one's coming to tell you to turn the TV off. No one's coming to tell you to get out the door and exercise. Nobody's coming to tell you to apply for that job that you've always dreamt about. Nobody's coming to write the business plan for you. It's up to you. And because you're only ever going to do the things that you feel like doing right now or that feel good right now, unless you understand that you've got to parent yourself, you got to push yourself, you're not going to make your dreams come true. You're just not. We're not wired that way. You weren't born that way. You weren't that way when you were growing up, and you're certainly not that way as an adult.
Everybody believes that at some point in time, they're going to turn it on, or some point in time, they're going to catch momentum, or some point in time, they're going to become what it is they want to become just by circumstance or by default or by breathing the air. That's not what it takes, bro. People who think that get to the end of their life and they're like, I wasted my life. Okay, that's what they end up thinking. And there's really nothing worse than that. There's nothing worse than getting to the end of your life and saying, damn, dude, I didn't even really try.
We expect things to change. You think you're going to get in better shape. You think you're going to get more money. You think your relationship is going to improve. You think you're going to get promoted. You think you're going to get a raise. You think the world is going to get better without you doing anything. But it isn't. Nothing is going to change unless you change what you're doing. Change the time that you wake up. Change what you do when you get out of bed. That's what you need to do. You have to change some things or nothing will change. So make changes and start little. Get up a little bit earlier. Get a workout done. That's what you need to do.
It's so easy to be great nowadays because everybody else is, most people are weak. This is a softened generation. So if you have any mental toughness, any ability, if you have any fraction of self-discipline, the ability to not want to do it but still do it. People have a hard thing understand. I hate to run. And what makes me so crazy, it doesn't anymore, is people go, well, why do you run if you hate it? What are you talking about? I don't want to take showers and eat either. I hate that too. That's a life, man. It wasn't until I changed that mentality that I became somebody. I hated going to school. So guess what? I was dumb as shit. That's what 1 + 1 is 2. But if you can get through to doing things that you hate to do, on the other side is greatness.
Work. No results, but I'm a little bit better. Work. No results, but I'm a little bit better. Work. No results, I'm a little bit better. Work. Boom.
Just got paid.
I just got paid. And it looks like overnight success.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, shit, it happened in a year. No, bro, it doesn't.
So everything that you do is habit forming. And that includes hitting the snooze button. That includes sitting on the couch. That includes eating donuts. It's all habit forming. You know what else is habit forming? Discipline. Setting the alarm and getting up. Going and working out. Eating steak. That stuff is all habit forming too. I recommend you form some disciplined habits.
And here's the reality. The hardest thing in life is figuring out who you are and what you want to do for the rest of your life. It's a big decision. I'm very blessed and lucky. I always knew who I was and exactly what I wanted to do. And once you figure that out, you wake up every day and you work toward it. That's what you do. It's impossible for you to fail if you know who you are, what you want to do, and you wake up every day and work toward it.
The biggest risk to your future isn't your competition. It's the distractions you insist on keeping in your life rather than doing the things you know you should be doing but aren't. People delay doing things they don't like for longer than it takes to do them.
Everything worthwhile is uphill. You see, every dream that you've ever had, it's all uphill. If you have a great relationship with somebody, you had to work on it. It's uphill. If you've built a wonderful business, guess what? It was uphill. If you've made the right decisions, they're not easy, are they? It's uphill. And the only way that you can go uphill is to be intentional. Nobody ever accidentally went uphill. You've never talked to a successful person and said, how did you get to the top of the mountain? And then look at you and say, I have no idea. If they're at the top of the mountain, they know how they got there because they had to have effort. It took energy. It took time. Everything worthwhile is uphill.
Keep showing up. If no one invests in you, invest in yourself. If no one believes in you, believe in yourself. Even if you don't see the results right away, keep showing up until you do see the results. Even if you don't see the results for a very, very long time, keep showing up.
You're out running on the track, working out, and you start talking to yourself saying, man, my knee is really sore right now. Maybe I'm doing too much. Maybe I need to back off, man, my lungs are burning. Maybe I can just slow down here. I'll do like an extra 2 sets tomorrow. It'll be okay.
Yeah.
Right. That sort of stuff.
Yes.
Like that stuff's dangerous.
Yes.
And that's when you just got to say, you know what? I'm not negotiating with myself.
Yeah.
The deal was already made. Deal was made when I set out at the beginning of the summer and said, this is the training plan I'm doing. I signed that contract with myself. I'm doing it. Throughout that process, you'll start talking to yourself like, man, I think I need to, nope. No, this is non-negotiable.
Man, if I want to be good, I gotta wake up in the morning and I gotta do the extra work. And I gotta show up when other guys aren't. And I've gotta learn. I've gotta continue to be open to learning. Focus on what you can control. Focus on what you're getting, not what anyone else is getting. Whenever you get an opportunity, you take advantage of it. You treat it like it's the Super Bowl. You treat it like it's game day. Go out there and treat practice like no one else does.
Everything that you are, everything that you're becoming, is a resilient pad of growth. On that pad is a launch. That's where you take off. That's where you find out what you're really made of. It's not about waiting until the end and one day you'll go after it. Make today day one. Today is the day that I decided I wanted to be great, so I'm going to do it. I decided I want to go after my goals, after my dreams. That's the mindset that you have to have, because today is the day you were given breath. I'm here with a purpose and live on purpose. Not off of your resume of where you've been, but on the direction and understanding of where you're going. There's a call on you. It's time for you to answer it.
Most people, the bottom 80%, are lazy, and they're looking for an easy way. They're looking for a shortcut to be successful, and there aren't any. But if you do something repeatedly over and over, you develop a habit. So most people are in the habit of looking for easy ways.
Whenever I get to a low point where I think, why do I even bother? I just remind myself, this is where most people stop, and this is why they don't win.
You don't start things and not finish them. You don't quit. There's nothing that comes out of quitting besides knowing that you didn't finish. We finish everything. You start it, finish it. If you're going to do it to try and be the best.
So if you're in the woods and you don't know where to go, start walking. You got to start walking because the perspective's not going to change. You have to start moving forward. You have to start taking steps in order to improve your vision, improve your perspective, change your perspective, make some kind of progress. And worst case scenario, you figure out that you walked the wrong direction. Okay, now you can go walk in the other direction. And that's going to be fine. But standing there lost and not doing anything is just waiting to die, waiting to starve to death. Don't let that happen.
You gotta fight. Shit's hard. You're gonna have days where you don't want to do anything. You're gonna have days where getting out of bed is the hardest motherfucking thing you ever did in your life. You gotta get the up and you gotta get in the fight. That's reality. The minute you lay down is the minute that all those demons and all that anxiety and all that stress and all that fear get you. You have to keep fighting. You have to wake up and do your job. Even if you have to crawl through it, you've got to get up and do it. Because the minute you lay down, that shit got you forever, bro, and you can't get out of it.
Life is going to be rough. It's supposed to be painful, but that's how you grow. It's going to take time, but what's on the other side, it's always worth it. I've experienced my fair share of pain in my life, just like every other adult in this church today. I didn't just graduate with degrees. I also graduated with an associate's in abandonment, with the bachelor's of brokenness, with the master's of misery, a PhD of pain, and a doctorate of depression. Like, life can be rough, but I kept putting the work in. And I said, this will not define me. This very thing I'm experiencing will refine me. And that's how you go to the next level. So if you really want to experience next level living, embrace the pain, embrace adversity, embrace the challenges that come your way, for those things are always working for your good.
This quote hit me in my chest. Usain Bolt said, I trained 4 years to run 9 seconds, and people give up when they don't see results in 2 months.
Is that what you want to do? You come all this way, have one bad day, and you're ready to back down?
I'm convinced that about half of what separates the successful entrepreneurs from the non-successful ones is pure perseverance. It is so hard. You pour so much of your life into this thing. There are such rough moments in time that most people give up.
The easiest thing in the world to do is to complain, blame, and quit and settle. That's the easiest thing in the world to do. But it takes real work to deconstruct and to reconstruct the thought process and the mindset of an individual when they're trying to change something. That's why I always say to people, what's more important, what we acquire or who we become?
We can stay here, get the shit kicked out of us, or we can fight our way back into the light. We can climb out of hell. 1 inch at a time.
You're always afraid to take the first step because all you see is every negative thing 10 miles down the road. But you can do anything you want. You are bound by nothing.
There's a reason why they say, see the light at the end of the tunnel. If you don't see that light, you're going to lose your mind. You will lose yourself. You will snap in half if you don't see past this. The challenge for many of us is that we got to see past our present pain and into the fruitfulness of the future.
Where is the wealthiest place in the world? Do you know? It's not China. It's not Dubai. It's the graveyard. Because in the graveyard, you will find inventions never invented, businesses never erected, songs never sung, books never written, ideas never nurtured, people never realized because they were scared to take a risk. Scared like you. But you want to know something else? You're not in the graveyard yet. Helen Keller was once asked, what on earth will be worse than being born blind? She said, it would be so much worse to be born with sight, but no vision. It's all in your mind. Whatever you hold in your mind will tend to occur in your life. If you continue to believe as you have always believed, you will continue to act as you have always acted. You will continue to get what you have always gotten. If you want different results in your life or your work, all you have to do is change your mind.
Your current situation is not your final destination. There's more to your life. And I know right now it's hard for you to believe that, but I need you to believe it. Like everything you're currently facing is building you for something greater. You're more than your struggles. You're more than your pain. I know you feel like nobody understands you. Nobody gets you. I know you feel alone and isolated. So I want to tell you, I'm proud of you for not giving up when it's so easy to.